7 years ago, I started calisthenics and I gained up to 90 pounds of muscle in the entire journey. Increased my pull-up from 3 to 40 total reps, got my weighted dip to 225 pounds for multiple repetitions, and was able to pull up a total of 176 pounds for a 1-rep max. And all that without being enhanced or doing a ton of weightlifting. And every single day, I help others do the exact same thing. But it wasn't always like this. In my entire 7-year journey, I made most of my progress in the last 3, which sounds weird, but that is because I did not know these 20 things that I wish I knew way earlier. Let's get into it. Chapter number 1, we're going to be getting into the training lessons I've learned, and we're going to be covering 5 total lessons, so let's get into them. Lesson number 1, I had to learn how to train harder. This was very humbling because I come from a street workout world. I come from a style of calisthenics where training hard was like the main mindset and the main motif, right? That was like the main motivation behind my style of calisthenics. But I had to learn that training hard is not in the amount of reps that you do. It's not in the amount of reps that you do per set of in the total training session or how many days a week you work, but it's actually in how tough you're able to make a set. It's how far can you push the pain barrier in a single set for multiple sets. That is what I had to learn in a single training session, and this became very, very clear for me only in the last 2 or 3 years. Training hard is all about knowing how to push your pain barrier to the next level. When I was doing my push-ups back in the days, I was doing sets of 50, not knowing that sets of 50 are extremely effective, but I wasn't actually pushing them close to failure each set of 50. So I actually had to do more or change up the variation to be able to get to failure a little bit earlier or closer in a single set, which would allow me to train harder. But that is something that I had to learn a little bit later, unfortunately, but this is something that you should implement into your training right away. Lesson number 2, I had to learn how to rest better. With hard training comes hard resting. You got to be able to also let your body recover. I know it's very, very popular nowadays to just say, oh, I want to just train as hard as I can and no rest days, no days off. But wouldn't you want to be able to make the most progress that you can physically make? Wouldn't you want to look in the mirror and think, damn bro, I'm actually in my best physique possible? Well, you're going to be able to do this through resting also. So resting does not only mean taking like 1 or 2 rest days a week. It also means that you need to adjust your volume and adjust your intensity so that you can actually recover for each and every training session, and so that you can actually be fresh for each and every training session so that you can put up the most effort possible per training session. Lesson number 3, rings equals gains. I extended the time of me avoiding rings for such a long time, and I'm so glad that I now gotten into it, because the reason why my gains are exploding nowadays and why I'm able to grow my upper chest way faster, why I'm able to grow my shoulders way quicker, my arms, is because of ring training. Most of my compounds right now are done on the rings, and the reason why is because, first of all, it makes it way more difficult for you to actually stay stabilized, which is going to be a progressive overload system throughout your training journey with rings. And second thing, the creativity skyrockets. So you're able to mimic certain bodybuilding, for example, exercises with rings and turn them into calisthenics exercises, which is the beautiful thing about it. And that is exactly why I've been able to build a lot of muscle without needing to do a lot of weightlifting, sometimes here and there for isolation. Lesson number 4, use that range of motion. Listen, when it comes to ring training, or when it comes to just training in general, most of us are just not using that potential range of motion that we could use in order to build more muscle. You need to actually humble yourself, and instead of saying, oh, I can do so many reps or this many weight on that exercise, you need to cut down the weight, cut down the reps, cut down your fucking ego, and go deeper on them reps. The reason why we have rings, the reason why we have deficit push-ups, the reason why we have dip bars is to use the range of motion that is applied to those pieces of equipment. When you're using rings, you need to go deep. That is the whole point of rings. That is the whole point of the deficit push-ups. Use that range of motion to be able to make more gains. If you're not going to be doing this, you're right now actively leaving gains on the table. Now, if you want to be an individual who doesn't leave any gains on the table and actually makes progress reliably every single week with the correct way of calisthenics training, go to the top link in the description and join Jack by Calisthenics, because these members inside this course, inside this blueprint, build muscle reliably, and they know how to train properly with the course. Once you access it, you have it forever, and this is the time where you're going to be learning and spending time on improving your physique the most while learning calisthenics to the fullest potential. If you want to be able to make a successful skinny to jack transformation in 6 months time, this is where you should be. Lesson number 5, less equipment is actually better for growth. When I actually started training, I had 0 equipment, and that is also when I made quite a lot of progress. But I made 0 to no progress when I started to train in the gym with every single piece of equipment to my access. And that is because when you have a lot of equipment and when you have a lot of things to do, it causes you to switch, and it causes you to be very autistic about what you choose and what you not choose and what type of routine you're going to make. So every single exercise that you see in the gym, you're going to try to utilize it into your routine, and it's not going to be effective for you to actually reliably grow muscle. So the moment when you have, for example, you're in the gym or you're at home and you have a limited set amount of things that you can use, now you're really going to be focusing on those pieces of equipment and making progress in them, as opposed to changing from variation week to week. And that is what I used to do, but it actually prevented me from building muscle to the fullest potential. So if you want to build muscle to your fullest potential, your first main concern should be, let me pick an exercise selection with the same variations. The only thing that you can change is the variation within the exercise, and that is what I'm going to be focusing on without switching constantly from routine to routine and from workout to workout and exercise to exercise. Chapter number 2, we're going to get into the exercise lessons. Lesson number 1, you need an upside down press in calisthenics. A lot of calisthenics athletes, especially the ones who train my style of calisthenics, which is bodybuilding style calisthenics, right? We optimize to be able to build muscle. The reason why we need an upside down press in our routine is because we usually focus just on the pull-up, the dip, the push-up, and some leg exercises, right? But the only thing that we're kind of now neglecting is the shoulders. We need a overhead press for our calisthenics routine, which is going to be an upside down press. I highly recommend you start getting into the elevated pike push-up, or if that is too hard, the normal pike push-up, and if that is too hard, variations of the Hindu push-ups can get you a long way when it comes to upside down pressing and knowing how to build your shoulders through calisthenics. This is already going to be changing up your physique and strength as well for your main compounds a lot. Lesson number 2, and that is going to be, you need a row into your routine. So as I said, we only focus on those basic exercises that are associated with calisthenics, right? But right now we need to actually add in a row to get a different angle of our back worked, to get thickness in our back, to be able to be more aesthetic when it comes to our back, and to be able to get more strength and more progression in our main pull-up variations that we want to get stronger in. So if you want to get stronger in your pull-up, adding a row in there would be a great decision for you to add right away. Just adding a simple ring row for like 2 to 3 sets after you have done everything would already change up the game quite a bit. But I want you to actually integrate it in your routine fully and make it a staple. And if you don't know how to properly implement everything that I'm saying right here, the blueprint Jacked by Calisthenics, which is the top link in the description, will do exactly that. Follow what I say in the modules, leave your questions in the chat, I'll answer them, and that is exactly where you're going to be seeing the progress, is by implementing the things that I say, not just trying it out. Lesson number 3, and that's going to be, use rings for isolation exercises. So once you have gone from beginner to intermediate, this is the time to start really focusing on, you guessed it, isolation exercises on your weak areas. So we all see weak areas after quite some time, right? So for me, it was always my arms and my shoulders right now. My arms have grown quite a bit right now, as you can see, from adding in reliable exercises for my arms with rings, doing the pelican curl, doing ring bicep curls, doing some tricep extensions on the rings, doing overhead extensions on the rings. I will all show you that in a full arm day very, very soon in a new video. So stay tuned for that and click subscribe so that you do not actually miss that. So the moment when you start to implement that, this is the moment when those little muscles that you are now seeing that are actually lagging, they are going to start to grow. And this is also going to be making you more durable for your compound movements, and that is going to leave you with more gains and strength in the future. Lesson number 4, do accessory exercises with weights. Listen, weightlifting is actually a great way to get better at calisthenics, and a lot of people are actually missing the opportunity to get better at calisthenics because they're not utilizing weights. But if you start to add in a little bit of accessory exercises into your routine to get better at certain compound movements, such as the pull-up or the dip, where you're now going to be doing weightlifting exercises to get stronger in those variations, you are now going to be seeing the most results that you can possibly see because you're using best of both worlds to gain progress. Listen, for example, on the pull-up, using a row with the dumbbells or a row with barbells could actually bring you a long way, because now you're targeting a little bit of that lower back. Now you're actually targeting your back in a different type of way, which is all going to help you in getting stronger in the main exercise, exercise, which is pull-ups. Then lesson number 5, I needed to rotate my variations. A lot of the times when we stick to normal compound movements that we should stick to, we only forget one simple thing, and that is rotating variations so that we do not do too much of what we're already doing. Because there is such a thing as overuse on compound movements. When you're doing push-ups every single day, do you think that your joints, your ligaments, and your tendons are going to be recovered every single time? You got to understand that your ligaments, tendons, and joints recover way slower than your muscles. Your muscles take up to like 48 hours to recover fully, right? Your tendons, they can take up to weeks, if not months, to fully properly recover for another workout. So you're going to be having to switch the rotation so that you prevent actually injuring yourself on certain exercises. That is the reason why I have 3 total pull-up variations, which is the normal ring pull-up, the commando pull-up, and the behind the neck pull-up that I frequently rotate in every single week. When it comes to the dip, I have pause ring dips, normal ring dips, and I have normal dips on the bars so that I do not overuse on every single exercise that I do. When it comes to the push-ups, same thing. I have ring push-ups, decline ring push-ups, incline ring push-ups, and push-ups on the bars so that I don't always deal with stabilizing issues. Now let's get into chapter number 3, and this is going to cover harsh truths in your calisthenics training. Lesson number 1, my arms were small, so what did I have to do? Isolate. A lot of the times for calisthenics athletes, isolation is going to be boring, bro. Isolation is really not that fun. The thing is, I want to do my fucking compounds every single day because I love them, right? I feel strong when I do them. I feel a good pump. I feel like a superhero when I'm doing them. But doing those little isolation here and there, it's going to be beneficial, man. You're going to be having to add it in. And the reason why it's going to be actually getting you to the next level is for previous reasons that I already mentioned. It's going to be getting you durable. Your tendons are going to be getting stronger from it. And once you actually start to notice little lagging strength parts in certain movements, let's say you never get your chin over the bar with a heavy chin up, isolating those arms could actually get that chin over the bar once you start staying consistent on it. And I had to just grow my arms. So the only way for me to do that, because my arms are genetically lagging, I needed to isolate them to put direct focus on it. Lesson number 2, and that is going to be, I had to level up my leg training, because in calisthenics, doing just your normal bodyweight squats and your normal bodyweight lunges and your normal bodyweight Bulgarian split squats, for instance, after some time, not in the beginning stage, but after some time, it is not going to cut it. After some time, you're gonna have to elevate what you are doing. The reason why that is because our legs adapt very quickly to bodyweight training. Our legs are strong. We're gonna have to put more attention on it. We're gonna have to put more load on it. We're gonna have to put real hard and dedicated work on our legs. So the only way for us to grow our legs that way is by adding some weights. So for example, when it comes to your lunges, do some weighted lunges, do some weighted Bulgarian split squats, do some weighted wide stand squats, right? That's what I do. Do some sissy squats with rings and then attach the weight to yourself. Do something for your legs that can actually bring it to the next level. And that's the only way, which is unfortunate, but it's true, the only way to grow real developed legs with calisthenics. And I'm still on this path. Lesson number 3. Unfortunately, the same work that got you from beginner to an intermediate will not be the same work that will get you from intermediate to advanced. The thing that you gotta understand is that after we have turned intermediate, there is always something that we need to change to go from advanced. It is not linear. It's going to be changing up constantly, right? So if we want to, for example, go from intermediate to advanced, do you think that it's going to be done with the exact same rep range, volume, and exercise selection that we did to go from beginner to intermediate? Unfortunately, it is not. We're going to have to change something up. And what we're going to be having to change specifically is usually lagging areas that we're going to be having to bring up. But how do we do that? First off, we change our compounds entirely. So we're going to be changing the compounds to exercise variations that are actually tougher for us than what we usually would be doing. So if you're good at the pull-up, switch it to a wide grip pull-up that you suck at. Switch it to a variation that you just absolutely hate doing. That is going to get you to advanced. It's the exercise optimization that actually is going to get you the gains instead of trying to do more and more and more. You want to focus on doing it better and better and better and actually filling up those weak areas to become advanced. Lesson number 4, more work does not equal more results. I had to realize very late, unfortunately, that more reps or doing more exercise selection or doing more volume is not actually going to get me results. As I just said in the previous lesson, more of better will get me more results. If I do everything correctly and if I actually try to progress with that thing within the exercise and I make it difficult for me over time instead of doing more and more and more, that is the only way for me to grow. So your body does not react to more and more and more. It's actually just going to be backtracking your progress because you're not going to be able to cover. You're probably going to get injured. So you want to be able to do better of the good things that you're already doing so that you don't create a big pile of shit for yourself. Lesson number 5, it takes a long time to progress with calisthenics. When it comes to building muscle with calisthenics, we're going to have to actually be patient. If you are not patient, and if you say to yourself, you know what, I did 5 sets of push-ups yesterday and I did 2 sets of diamond push-ups yesterday and it was kind of hard, like it was way too hard, I'm not going to do this no more, I'm going to just stop. Of course you're not going to make progress that way. It takes a long ass time. Push-up progression takes a long ass time. Pull-up progression takes a long ass time. It takes a long time to get used to the rings. It takes a long time to be able to level up your weighted pull-up. It takes a long time to be able to do way more push-ups than you are doing right now. It takes a long time. But once you are actually in that advanced stage where you're okay with that and you stay humble and you progress each and every week, which is what I'm gonna be showing you in the Jack by Calisthenics blueprint, now you're gonna be making the gains that you want to see. Now let's go into chapter number 4, and that is going to be integration. So lesson number 1 is integrating weights to get better at calisthenics. So as I already said in a couple of lessons before, you want to actually use weights to get better at calisthenics. A loyal calisthenics person is not a guy who just focuses calisthenics and says, I don't do weights because I'm loyal to calisthenics. If you were to play chess, for example, and then some grandmaster chess player would tell you, read some books to become better at chess, or try this out, try this sport out to get better at chess, even though it doesn't have to do anything with chess, would you do it to become better at chess? Yes, because you are a chess player. You want to become better at chess. So if there are different things out there that are going to make you better at that certain thing, you need to do it. That is the exact same thing with calisthenics. If you want to become better at calisthenics and weights actually provide you some options that are going to get you better at calisthenics, why wouldn't you do that? It is a very smart option to actually integrate it into your routine a little bit for example, accessories or isolation to get better at calisthenics. And if you want to be able to do that, I have a full hybrid calisthenics module in my Jack by Calisthenics blueprint. So click that right now and rewatch it a couple of times to be able to integrate it into your routine. Go over there right now and I'll see you inside. Lesson number 2, isolation on weak areas with weightlifting. Now that's exactly what I mentioned in the previous lesson. You want to be using weighted calisthenics to be able to get better. So if certain calisthenics exercises are not that optimal for that certain muscle, for example, let's say your biceps are lagging, but when it comes to calisthenics, certain calisthenics exercises do not have the best strength pattern or do not have the best pattern of stretch and squeeze, then using a little variation of a curl with a dumbbell could get you a long way. Same thing when it comes to triceps, same thing when it comes to shoulders. Use it to get better and use it to fill up those weak areas. Lesson number 3, weightlifting on the leg days. Now we all know that weightlifting is very effective for your legs, but realistically, we can actually turn weightlifting into calisthenics because weightlifting on legs is truly a lot of times weighted calisthenics. When we do squats with extra weight, doesn't matter where the barbell or the weighted vest or whatever it is calisthenics. When you're doing Bulgarian split squats with dumbbells, you're doing weighted calisthenics because it's a body weight exercise where there is more weight added upon it. So that's exactly how you're going to be training legs. And this is something that I had to learn. I had to say to myself, wait a minute, this is just weighted calisthenics. Instead of avoiding it and saying to yourself, oh, I'm a calisthenics athlete, so I'm not going to do it. Just do it because realize it is just weighted calisthenics. So integrate it to become stronger in your legs, to have bigger legs while still doing calisthenics. So lesson number 4, recording my sets to actually see what I'm doing correct and incorrect. The reason why I want you to do this, I want you to try this out, is for improvement. If you actually do this consistently and you record your training sessions, you are now going to find out little imbalances in the way you're doing things and the way you're handling certain movements and the way you could control certain exercises more and more. This is the reason why I record myself almost every single training session and I see things that I can improve. Do that today and trust me, it'll already change up the way you train the next time. Then lesson number 5, and now this is the last lesson, that's going to be using old school bodybuilder variations, especially on pull-ups and dips, to be able to make more progress. Now, of course, you might say like, yo, what do you mean bodybuilders, right? We're not bodybuilders. I know, but we are trying to build muscle with calisthenics. So wouldn't it be fair to say that we could use variations from the golden era bodybuilders and use them in our own routine to be able to get more results? Because the variation that they use on their back were responsible for 90% of their back mass. So why wouldn't we include it into our workout routine? So again, if you want to be able to do that and if you want to make reliable progress week by week, The top link in the description. It's all yours. Go ahead and go over there right now. Use one of the programs that are already set and done for you in there and gain progress very quickly in 6 months. And if you want to be implementing those bodybuilder variations into your own workout routine, click right here on this video, because this is actually what I mean with integrating bodybuilder variations into your routine to get more back mass.